Coming up on today's Locked On Senators, Ottawa has its first back-to-back of the season, but we're feeling good after a 6-3 win last night in Toronto.
That was a fun one, Ross, but the Sens have a long way to go to turn things around here. So we're going to shift our focus to tonight's battle up against the red-hot Vancouver Canucks.
And was it a Monday meeting with Daniel Alfredsson, Steve Staios, and the players that turned this ship around? Pierre LeBrun detailed that in his article with The Athletic. We'll discuss it and more. This is the Locked On Senators podcast. It's your team every day.
Your Locked On Senators, your daily podcast on the Ottawa Senators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
I'm Jake Sanderson, and you're listening to Locked On Senators podcast.
I'm Tim Stützle, and you're listening to the Locked On Senators podcast.
Welcome inside episode 913 of the Locked On Senators podcast. I'm Ross Levitan on the outskirts of enemy territory in Winnipeg, Manitoba. Alongside Brandon Piller up in the Blue Mountains. You can follow the show on social media. We're at Sens Central on Twitter, LockedOn.Senators on Instagram. The show is free and available on all podcast platforms, including on YouTube, where a like, comment, and subscription go a long way to helping the show grow. Today's comment, we want to know how you're feeling in this back-to-back, because some might abstain and say, let me wait until both games are done before making a decision on how I feel about this team. But with a win tonight, they could be back at 500. Little victories go a long way. Today is Thursday, November 9th, and Pilsy, nothing better than beating the Leafs.
Oh, it's great. I mean, obviously, we can't stand here and act like everything is fine in Sens land, but it's nice to just get a little positivity heading into the first back-to-back of the season, Ross, because all of these gaps between games it's messing with me. It's giving me anxiety. I want right back into the action. So you celebrate a big win up against your division rivals in the Toronto Maple Leafs last night in their own barn. Now, Sens are going back home to the CTC. Freezing cold water coming out of the taps. They're home. They're ready to go up against a red-hot Vancouver Canucks team. This is going to be a very telling sign, Ross, if this team is indeed stabilizing things the way Steve Staios wants them to.
I'm not ready to move on to tonight's game, rather, because I want to talk about yesterday's game. The postcast was electric, over 500 the whole way through. We appreciate everybody for tuning in tonight. Martian and Pilsy will have you covered. Canucks, Senators, but Pilsy, last night's game, to me, there's lots to build off of. You found a line that works.
Yep.
It's unfortunate that, there's a common denominator between the two lines that have worked so far this season. It'd be nice to get multiple areas clicking, but Mathieu Joseph moves on to the line with Tim Stützle and Claude Giroux, and the three combined for 10 points in that game. That's the good. The bad, though, that Norris, Tkachuk, Batherson line was invisible, especially in the offensive zone, and we're out there for a couple unfortunate defensive plays as well. Is that something where you're going to try to look to split them up right away, or do you let them battle through it, knowing that these three have shown they can contribute together in the past?
I mean, I think either is an okay option, Ross. Personally, for me, and we talked about this on the postcast, I think the right move here is bringing Batherson down to the third line, demoting him, if you will, less ice time, and creating that spot so that you can elevate Vladimir Tarasenko. I would like to see a line of Brady Tkachuk, Norris, and Vladimir Tarasenko, and then have the third line be Kubalik, Roby Yarventi, and then Drake Batherson.
Has Jakob Chychrun on the back end exceeded your expectations so far this year?
You know what? I will say a little bit, yeah, but not that much, because when he was brought in, and the Sens paid a pretty penny to get him at the trade deadline, but when he was brought in, he was one of the most sought-after defensemen that were available on the trade market, and the Sens got him. And sure, there's the injury concerns, but when he's healthy, my God, is this guy good offensively, defensively? He can eat minutes, 31 and 6 seconds last night, which is a little nerve-wracking in the first half of a back-to-back, but we'll get to that later. But Jakob Chychrun has been the defenseman that this D-core has needed, because Thomas Chabot couldn't do it all. And then Jake Sanderson, when Chabot and Chychrun were injured at the end of last season, he couldn't do it all either. So Chychrun is kind of the bridging the gap between Chabot and Sanderson, having to pull all the weight around here.
I thought he would be, and not to say that he's not been decent defensively, but he does kind of look a little lost at times in his own zone, but he is much more of an offensive threat than I thought. We knew he had the booming shot, but like he sneaks down to the top of the hash marks or the top of the circle where he scored his goal last night. But Pilsy, now that we've kind of reveled in the victory, Joseph Woll was bad. Like 3, if not 4 of those goals were just straight up bad goals to let in. Hey, I'm not apologizing for it, but it should be noted that he was bad.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, that's a pleasant surprise for Sens fans, as if you look at Joseph Woll's numbers throughout his career, I know it's not a big sample size, but he's been pretty sharp. So it's nice that they were able to catch him on an off night. I think that game in Buffalo that Mikey DiStefano referenced on our show wasn't a great one for him. And then that kind of bled into the Ottawa game here. So that's what you want to see. You want to catch goalies when they're down, and we'll get into this later, but classic move by the Vancouver Canucks, playing a backup goalie up against the Ottawa Senators. I told you, Ross, this was going to happen. Teams love doing this, but Casey DeSmith is no slouch. Like he's had decent numbers before, and he's off to not a bad start this season as well. But I will say, I'll take DeSmith over Thatcher Demko every day of the week.
Every day of the week. And last year, Ottawa got the better of Casey DeSmith when he was in Pittsburgh. Remember, Ottawa put 40 shots up on him, scored 5 goals in January. Nice. So at least they've got experience beating this guy. But Pilsy, and I don't want to isolate our audio listeners. We absolutely love each and every one of you tune into the show day to day. But Pilsy, we love doing this with Jurassic Park, the leaf pile out there in the playoffs. But I want to pull up. This is just great photography by our friends at the USA Today. I want to zoom in a little bit more even here. Pick your favorite Leaf fan. Pick your favorite Leaf fan here. There's a few good ones to choose from. I can assure you that these suit men here in the second row are having a good night. In the top right, you see those 4 in the fourth row? Yeah, those guys are looking for a less depressing venue for their next business meeting.
I'm looking at, Ross, if you move your mouse down a little bit from where you were, that kid with the backwards hat. That's tough for that kid. No, a little to the right. Yeah, that guy right there. Poor kid. This is not what he expected from a night out with what I assume is his dad beside him. Too bad.
Yeah, that's tough. And then we got Biebs and his old man there in the fourth row. Above that, we've got safety first from the fans, too. Great to see the neck guards are being worn in the crowd, too, with the Dougie Gilmore jersey, eh?
Yeah.
And underrated of all this, Pilsy, and one, I mean, the look Timmy's giving Chychrun there is like, yeah, I just did that. This is after the 6-3 goal, by the way. This is right after Morgan Riley absolutely annihilated William Nylander in front of the net. William Nylander's all time there. Paint me like one of your French girls, please.
Yeah, Willie Nylander's like, they don't pay me enough for this crap. I can't wait to get out of Toronto.
All right. And that was having some fun with Leaf fans, as we like to do here on Locked On Senators. Pilsy, this was a good one to look back on, but it could compound and really carry some momentum if they can get a result tonight against the Vancouver Canucks. It's a 7:00 puck drop in Ottawa, your nation's capital, and they're going up against the Canucks that are 9-2-1. We will have that full game day preview. Locked On player, lookout player. Pilsy's parlay was a Joseph Woll mishandling the puck away from hitting. He had the under 8.5. Wait, was that all, or did others not hit?
I only hit 1 out of 4 legs, but I appreciate that, Ross. I appreciate it.
I was under the impression I was giving you way too much credit. Feel free to give me credit when we get to the Levy lock, which is an abysmal record right now.
I'll try.
But Pilsy, we'll save all that because there's a story from behind the scenes that just seems like one of those come together moments.
Yep.
We'll let you know what it is next. You're listening to Locked On Senators.
Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at Mary J's. Mary J's is a locally owned cannabis dispensary in the Ottawa area. Three best friends started it off. They grinded. They slept on air mattresses on the floor of their sales room to make ends meet. And through their hard work and dedication, they now have 4 stores in Ottawa and even a store in Cobourg. If you guys are in the Ottawa area, you can find them at Riverside South, Orleans, Greeley, and Russell. Mary J's offers the absolute best and newest products on the market with many new additions to the menu every single week. They always keep it fresh there. Mary J's has everything you need, whether you're a rookie or a grizzled vet. Mary J's offers competitive pricing. In fact, guys, they will price match any store in Ottawa, any store, and they will give you the guaranteed best price around at a Mary J's location. And they've got friendly bud tenders who are always ready to assist. One of the owners, Dashy, absolute beauty, diehard Sens fan. So go to one of the 4 locations in Ottawa, say what up to Dashy, pick his brain about the newest products that they have, and talk some Sens. Guys, check it out today, Mary J's.
Today's also brought to you by our friends at Jace Medical. The Jace case provides you with 5 essential antibiotics that treat the most common and deadly bacterial infections. The beauty of the Jace case is that it's personalized and it's an emergency medication kit, so it's helping you out in times of need. Jace Medical now offers customizability for your Jace case with dozens of add-on medications, and gift cards are also available for family or your loved ones so they can get a Jace case of your own. The Jace case provides 5 life-saving antibiotics, and all it takes to get one is to fill out a simple online form and in some cases jump on a quick call with one of their board-certified physicians. So get ongoing care on any treatment-related questions. The Jace case is doctor-created and doctor-recommended. So it's a 3-step process. Don't be caught unprepared. Number 1. Number 2, everyone should be empowered to care for themselves and their loved ones during the unexpected. And number 3, Jace handles everything from the online evaluation to licensed pharmacy medication delivery and ongoing consultation. So check them out today by going to jacemedical.com and use our promo code Locked On at checkout. You'll get $20 discount on your order. That's promo code Locked On at jacemedical.com, JASE medical.com. All right, Pilsy. So the Senators are 1-0 this week, undefeated this week.
Let's go.
And there's one common denominator that we can find at least, and that's President of Hockey Operations Steve Staios, who will now affectionately be known as Steady Stevie Staios. He's got that personality, calm, cool, collected. The guys over at Missing Curfew podcast, Scotty Upshaw and Shane O'Brien, one's from Edmonton, one played with him there. And they said this guy is just as salt of the earth as you could get. No visor, defensive defenseman, just the kind of guy you wanted to play with back when he was a player. And now seems like the kind of guy you want to play for. What were your thoughts as you were going through Pierre LeBrun's one-on-one with Steve Staios today, where he was detailing, a specific meeting that took place this Monday?
I mean, it was really great for Sens fans to see that and read that from Pierre LeBrun, because Steve Staios comes as advertised, right? Like Michael Andlauer's whole thing with Steve Staios is, hey, I've known this guy for a long time. We've had success in Hamilton. He's someone that I trust to kind of right the ship, and keep things steady. And look, sometimes you need the front office to cross that dimension and go talk to the players and be a part of the team in that sense, right? Like sometimes you need them to stay away, or most times you need them to stay away and let the team, coach, players handle it. But at certain points, when things go as crazy as they have gone in Ottawa, you got to try something a little different. And I think it helps, Ross, that Steve Staios was such a respected player. He brings a little cachet with him when he's going to talk to these players. It's not just some guy in a suit. He's been there. He's had to face adversity. Probably not quite like this, but he's had the ups and downs of an NHL career. And like you mentioned, a steady defensive defenseman, doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low. He just says, guys, look, we're facing adversity right now. Here, I'll read the quote here. We got hit with a lot of adversity in a short period of time. I thought it was the right thing to let them know, hey, this adversity that we're facing, and it's my job to eliminate some of that noise for them and create the environment and stability where they can just go out and play, end quote. So what he's saying is, we'll deal with all this crazy stuff that's happening in the media and with the front office. You don't worry about that. You guys focus on winning hockey games, focus on the games upcoming this week, and we'll handle everything else. Don't let the outside noise stop you from playing your game. And I think Steve Staios, really, Ross, it seems like he is the right guy for this moment in time in Sens history.
Steve Staios coming in with a decent amount of experience, but he's only 50 years old as well. Just turned 50 in July. He looks like the kind of guy who, is really just kind of ascending to a position where I'm at the point now where I wouldn't be shocked if he names himself GM. But obviously, I think the more voices he has around him, the better. The bottom line is for the foreseeable future, Steve Staios will be pulling the strings in hockey operations as the president in that department. Love this quote, and it's certainly a stark contrast to we've heard times when the old owner used to come down and rip his team after, a tough stretch. But this is just bringing that positive environment to everyone else. And I'm excited to see what the Steve Staios regime is going to do next. One thing I took from this article is there will not be a coaching change. I think even just for the standpoint of him wanting to calm the waters, I think that obviously it could get to an unattainable position where you have to make a change. But you know what solves everything? Putting the puck in the back of the opposition's net more than it's going in your own. So I think a lot of relief has come from the management team for no loss last night. You get the win. Everybody's feeling good. We saw a Toronto Maple Leafs reporter mention that Michael Andlauer gave DJ a big hug after the game. DJ's
high fives and hugs. Let's go.
High fives and hugs, baby. High fives and hugs. Wonder what people think of the hire now. But Michael Andlauer was at the game. We knew that. The Martian had that first. And what we like to see when the owner's at a road game is getting the win, I wonder if you think Michael Andlauer is a beat the traffic chant guy?
Hopefully.
We got great video sent to us at Sens Central yesterday. Sens fans brought the heat, the energy in yesterday's game. We absolutely love to see that.
Yeah, especially when you double up 6-3 on the Leafs. But yeah, the main thing here, Ross, is ownership has kind of set the standard for how things are going to be. The president of hockey operations / interim GM is setting the standard, and DJ Smith is going to continue to do his thing. That's the thing. Like, I feel like a lot of people are just like, well, if the coach isn't getting it done, you have to fire him. It's as easy as that. And you know what? Sometimes it is. But I think if you still have the players fighting for this coach, and it's not just Brady saying it to the media just to say the politically correct thing. I believe it. Same with Claude Giroux. Like he's even getting a little testy about it. Like, guys, what else do you want me to say about this? We support the coach here. So I think that goes a long way, that even if the results maybe aren't there, the players are still standing firmly with DJ Smith.
And notice that Claude Giroux's comments came after that meeting. So I was wondering why he sounded so confident. You brought it up on the show.
Yes.
You're like, how's he so confident DJ's not going anywhere? I think this is also going to build the relationship between Steve Staios and the players. He can't then say that in the meeting, which I believe is what was said, and then go out and fire him. I think DJ's safe until at least Christmas, and they'll reevaluate in the new year. That's just my thought process on it. Obviously, the win last night relieves a bit of the tension with that. Shout out for Pierre LeBrun, the one person who's ever written back to me and said, no, I'm good. I'm not coming on your show. So I respect the honesty there, but also great one-on-one article. So we appreciate that from him. Now, let's stick with the insiders here, and then we'll get to our game day preview in the next segment. Our guy, Kevin Himina, made it nice and easy for us to get the clippings from 32 Thoughts for the Ottawa Senators this last 32 Thoughts. Obviously, Elliot Friedman, Sportsnet are the guys who bring you 32 Thoughts. So one of his thoughts was about that meeting, but something else that I was really happy to see, not that it was, in question that much, but the plan is that Shane Pinto will be back in Ottawa after the suspension is over. There was some thoughts like, does the organization think differently? Is it something that they're going to try to move him? But that can be put to rest. Steve Staios or I'm assuming Steve Staios told him this, but Elliot Friedman is reporting that Shane Pinto will return to the Senators lineup. They'll figure out a contract by the time his suspension ends January 21st. So that's some good news there as well.
Yeah, and that's the thing, Ross. Like, this is refreshing for Sens fans when ownership and upper management says things and then follows through with it. Like the whole, like Ross, the entire stance we've had on Shane Pinto has been from DJ Smith, the coach. We stand behind him. He made a mistake. He's going to pay the fine, the suspension, and he's going to be welcomed back. The management, same thing. He made a mistake. We support him. We hope he gets help, but he's welcome back. Like, there's been no idea of throwing him under the bus or saying we got to trade him or he's not welcome here anymore. None of that. So I feel like that's not even news to me. That's just reaffirming what has already been said and that the process will go that way. So that's good to see because, look, Pinto's an important part of this team, and I think it'll be a nice boost when he comes back.
Agreed. And get him and Ridley Gregg in the lineup for the first time ever together. And now you're starting to see depth down in the bottom six. And if Kubalik keeps scoring the way he's going, sheesh, don't make me pull out the DeBrincat comparables. Don't make me do it, Pilsy.
Ross, I told you he was just on a slow start to his hot start. So now the slow start to the hot start has ended. The hot start is here. Let's go, Kubalik.
Keep this in mind as well from Elliot Friedman, 32 Thoughts, that asking around on Steve Staios, this is the direct quote, a couple things I heard about him. The two things that are most important to him when he evaluates hockey players are character and hockey sense. So keep that in mind. Look for the Senators to acquire more smart players, maybe than the old brute force players that they would go out and acquire in the old regime. So keep that in mind. Tonight, another tough test. The Vancouver Canucks are not to be taken lightly. We'll have a full game day preview. You're listening to Locked On Senators.
Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at Parkview Advance. Guys, as a business owner, you realize there are times when receivables might fall behind. But that doesn't mean you need to fall behind on your vendor payments, payroll, or rent. Keep up with all those things. For more than 25 years, Parkview Advance has helped businesses secure working capital. From $5,000 to $1.5 million, Parkview Advance can improve your working capital in as little as 24 hours. It's a much easier process than you might imagine. We invite the many entrepreneurs that are Locked On Sens fans to learn more by calling at 203-675-0071 or head to the website parkviewadvance.com. If your business needs working capital, call Parkview Advance today. Get started on it, guys. Parkview Advance, helping businesses with their working capital. Go to parkviewadvance.com.
All right, Pilsy, here we are. First back-to-back game day of the season. It's a nice contrast to having 4 days off after every game.
So much better, Ross. I need more Sens hockey after that win. If they made us wait after that, I would have gone crazy. So we're right back at it. Another Canadian team, the Vancouver Canucks.
Rest is a weapon. If I hear that one more time, I'll go crazy.
The Senators have only played 3 hockey games since October 28th. October 28th, it's November 9th, dude.
Wow.
So let's keep this ship rolling. And who will be rolling with the ship here tonight? We've got an expected lineup because, of course, no morning skate today for the Ottawa Senators. DJ Smith will address the media at 4:45 p.m. Eastern. Follow us on Twitter at Sens Central. We'll get you the information you need. We're going to assume Anton Forsberg starts in goal. Pilsy, hit us with the lines that we expect to see tonight.
Here we go. Brady Tkachuk with Josh Norris and Drake Batherson. Matthew Joseph with Tim Stützle and Claude Giroux. Dominic Kubalik with Yarventi and Tarasenko. Parker Kelly and Chartier and Zach McEwen. On defense, Jake Sanderson. Hopefully, Artem Zub.
Please.
Zub? Question mark. Jakob Chychrun with JVD. And Tyler Clevin with his mentor, Travis Hamonic. In goal.
Sorry, we don't call him Travis Hamonic anymore. We call him +4.
Yeah, the hammer was getting it done last night. Goalies, give me Anton Forsberg. Let's get Forsberg back in the mix here, and backing up will be Jonas Korpisalo.
Yeah, I think that's the right call. You don't want it to be a situation where you roll Korpisalo into the dirt. Let's get Forsy in there.
It's a tandem. Come on.
Start. My locked on player for tonight is Jakob Chychrun. Played a career high 31.06. I mean, I feel like he's taken up a lot of the airwaves here on Locked On Senators between last night's postcast and today's episode. We've already discussed his tremendous start to the season. Pilsy, you know what? I want to contextualize this for you a little bit. For the Ottawa Senators. They're going up against the best defenseman in the National Hockey League right now, okay? So that's a high bar because Quinn Hughes has 20 points in 12 games.
Yeah.
Heck, even Filip Hronek has 13 points in 12 games, but no goals. Filip Hronek is eating thanks to Quinn Hughes as well. But
a lot of apples.
In terms of goal-scoring defensemen, this is some good company that he's in. Let's go with a defenseman with 5 or more goals. Quinn Hughes, Dougie Hamilton, Jakob Chychrun. That's the whole list. All 3 of them tied with 5 goals apiece. Heck, only 3 defensemen have 4 goals. Noah Dobson, Sean Durzi, and Drew Doughty. So you look at that, you're like, okay, wow, Jakob Chychrun's having a good start to the season. How many defensemen in the National Hockey League who have played more than 10 games are at or above a point per game clip? The answers: Quinn Hughes, Cale Makar, Victor Hedman, Adam Fox, Filip Hronek, Noah Dobson, and Jakob Chychrun. That's the list. He is in elite company. I'm a little concerned about the quick turnaround after having his career high in ice time. He's going to be relied upon again tonight at home, but he's a guy who I'm going to be locked on to after his performance yesterday.
Yep, hard not to be locked on to Jakob Chychrun when he's playing half the game, that's for sure, but hopefully we get that down to 21 or 22 minutes.
No. He can play 24 tonight. Anything above that, I'll start to be like, okay, we're in a bit of a pickle.
All right. I'm going to go my locked on player, Vladimir Tarasenko. I've said it, but I'll emphasize it again. I thought this guy was just going to be a sniper, nothing else. Defensive liability, no playmaking ability, not going to be getting physical in the battles. I was wrong. Vladimir Tarasenko, Ross, this guy had one of the best reverse hits I've seen in a long time. Simon Benoit was not ready for Vladimir Tankasenko. He was ready. He got knocked on his ass real quick. That happened insanely fast. Tarasenko, big body, uses it there. And then incredible playmaking ability. The patience, getting into the blue line, waiting. And then he hit, I believe it was Roby. No, who scored that goal that he hit with that nice pass? It wasn't Roby Arventi. Was that Timmy? Who was that pass where Tarasenko fed it to him and he had a nice chance in front?
In last night's game?
Yeah.
It was Roby. It was on the little half breakaway.
Okay, it was Roby. Yes, there we go. A nice pass by Tarasenko there. So Vladimir Tarasenko, it'd be nice for him to pot a goal here, but I want to be locked onto him because he's doing it all, baby.
He certainly is. And the fans, they want the captain to back up his words on home ice. That line with Norris, Tkachuk, and Batherson, I keep saying they're going to get going eventually when it comes most particularly to Drake Batherson, but still, like Norris, I think could find another gear here. And Brady's been the most valuable Senator all season long, give or take. Like you could even throw like the fact that the conversation could include Mathieu Joseph, I think says a lot about his start. But man, Brady obviously leads the team in goals, points, hits, or not points anymore, sorry, but leads the team in goals, hits, PIMs, and some other. I tweeted it out yesterday when we did our Locked On players, but down for that. And I'm down for Brady Tkachuk to take over tonight's game. We're about to bring on one of the hosts of Locked On Canucks to help us preview the Vancouver Canucks, but he just came in hot in the group chat this morning, says we're going to see a Brady Tkachuk JT Miller fight tonight. So let's hope that, I mean, if Brady's going to fight someone, at least get one of the best players off of their rocker on the other team.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Brady Tkachuk doing a better job of not letting guys under his pay class, I'll say, I guess, taking him out for 5 minutes while they only have a third or fourth line scrub going out for 5 minutes. So that's what you like to see.
Love to see it. Let's get to our keys to the game first, and then we're going to bring on Kyle Bhawan of
Woo!
Locked On Vancouver Canucks to discuss this. The first key to victory, and I've been alluding to it all show, wakey top line. You know these guys have an extra gear to them, but we have not seen it in some time. I think maybe you can give a little bit of leniency to the fact that they're only put back together recently, but tonight is a big opportunity for Tkachuk, Norris, and Batherson to match what they saw the other top six line of Stützle, Joseph, and Giroux do in last night's game. So I'm going to be really watching that top line, seeing what they can cook up.
Yeah, my key to victory here is, look, this top pair of Quinn Hughes and Filip Hronek, these guys are offensive machines. We already talked about it. They've got 33 points together. Like, you got to watch out when these guys are on the ice. They're going to be a defense pair where I feel like sometimes the best defense is a good offense, because their plus minus numbers are looking great too. So basically, I want to just be sure that every time that pair is on the ice, it's not the yin and yang pair that we usually like, Ross. One offensive guy, one shutdown guy. These guys are both confident moving the puck, and you got to watch out when they're on the ice.
Who would you be looking to match up line-wise? Because I want Brady out there every shift, making it hard on them, breaking out their own zone.
Yep, and then as far as the defense goes, Ross, as our third key to the game goes, Zub, simply Zub. Give me Sanderson and Zub up against the Hughes, Hronek, and the top lines for the Vancouver Canucks.
And we're about to get to that, but Zub is the third key to victory because, look,
Zub.
not only did their top four last night play a ton, top five especially, Nicholas Matinpalo barely saw the ice after getting walked by Austin Matthews at the end of the first period. So what can they do to get Artem Zub ready to go in this game? Get him playing. Even like 18 minutes of Zub is better than 6 minutes of Matinpalo. Take a little pressure off of JBD, and we'll go from there. So those are your keys to victory. Now let's get to the Vancouver Canucks. And before we pull up their lines, we bring on a good friend of the show, the co-host of Locked On Canucks, Kyle Bhawan, bright and early on the left coast. What's going on, brother?
The West Coast, the best coast of Canada. I'm doing good, man. I'm really excited for tonight's game, and I'm predicting this, man. I know you guys don't like Brady Tkachuk fighting bums, and I get that because he's too good of a player, but I'm seeing a future where JT Miller and Brady Tkachuk become rivals or just scrap it out today. I really see that happening, man. Something's telling me, because JT Miller was interviewed yesterday by Sportsnet 650, and he said something about how he doesn't care about Team USA. He's not thinking about that. So I feel as if both those player types, how intense they are, so much is riding on this season. They're gonna come together today, for real.
Okay, I like that you're calling it
That's
out.
sweet. I like it. Yeah, and JT Miller is one of those guys, Kyle, where he's a hothead. Like, if you get him going, if you get him pissed off, like, he'll mix it up. So that'd be a good one to see. Center ice, let's go.
Bro, I saw Brady Tkachuk score that goal against Tampa after the bench was hounding at him in that, I think, what's the guy's name from Tampa?
Tanner Jeannot.
Oh,
Yep.
Dude, that was one of the funniest plays I've seen in such a long time, and it made me into a even bigger Brady Tkachuk fan, because that's the type of guy you want on your team / you just want to watch every night, because he just puts a smile on your face, man. Like, he's so entertaining. There's not a lot of guys like that out there.
Hey, I'd rather he grabs JT Miller than the guy he grabbed last year when these two teams went head-to-head. Pulling up on YouTube, him and Tyler Myers getting in the mix as well. But let's look at the Canucks projected lines for tonight's game. And I want you to let me know after I run through this, who's your locked on player to watch tonight for the Canucks? Who should Sens fans be keeping their eye on? And, you know, we've already discussed that top pair on the back end, so I want you to give me something a little spicier than Quinn Hughes or Filip Hronek. But the lines should be as followed. Elias Pettersson between Ilya Mikheyev and Andrei Kuzmenko. JT Miller centering Phil DiGiuseppe and Brock Besser. We got Pia Suter and Dakota Joshua and Connor Garland as the third line. The fourth line is Sam Lafferty. I always think of Happy Gilmore when I hear that name. Lafferty, Daniel. And then we've got Niels Höglander and Anthony Beauvillier on defense. Quinn Hughes with Filip Hronek, Carson Soucy with Tyler Myers, and Ian Cole with Mark, don't call me, Elliot Friedman. Casey DeSmith starts in goal. Kyle, you're locked on Vancouver Canuck player.
It's Pettersson, and he did it before in Ottawa. He scored a lot of goals in one game, I think, in his rookie season. And Pettersson is coming off one of his worst games. a couple nights ago. And I think that's going to inspire this guy to really bring it today. And I don't know. I feel as if he's going to come up big. And I know he's come up big all season long. And eventually you're going to, see him kind of cool off because it's just the ebbs and flows of the season. But you're facing a Pettersson that, again, is coming off one of his worst games of the season. And I don't think he likes that, man. He's such an intense player. And him and Kuzmenko, just generally speaking, 5-on-5, they still have a lot to bring to the table. And I think we're going to see that starting on this road trip in the East, man. So, yeah, Pettersson, I know that's scary news for you Senators fans who really want to put together, winning streak here after beating the Maple Leafs. But I don't know if Pettersson's going to let that happen tonight.
Worth noting that Elias Pettersson has 15 points in 11 career games against Ottawa, shooting 22.5%.
Yeah, man.
This guy's on a heater right now, a contract year for him, and he's making sure he's adding a lot of stats to take to that contract negotiation. Before I get to my lookout player, Kyle, I want to ask you, does it surprise you that Casey DeSmith is starting tonight after it's been so many nights off and the way Demko's been playing, and you guys have a back-to-back later on this weekend? Is it surprising that DeSmith is here, or do you like this move from the Canucks?
I think it's a little surprising, but it's also been a little bit since we've seen Casey DeSmith. It feels like it's been like 9 days, 10 days, and they probably want to, keep him warm. And I did hear from reports that the Canucks are more than open to playing DeSmith 2 out of 3 times on this road trip. So It is what it is. And I guess that's the other player to watch too, because DeSmith has been so good this season for the Vancouver Canucks. And if he can continue it after he's been sitting on the bench for a little bit, then I think we can actually say that the Canucks may have one of the best duos in net. Yo, the Canuck fans right now, we have the best everything. That's how we're feeling, man. And if another thing that we do have is a goaltending duo like that, it's I'm not gonna say cup or bust, but man, we feeling strong out here, man. We high off the gas right now, man. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, you should be. You're 9-2-1. Pilsy, your lookout player.
My lookout player is going to be the other guy in this photo. If you're watching on YouTube, Elias Pettersson and Brock Besser celebrating a goal.
Thought it was Prince Charming.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, he's a good-looking dude, Brock Besser. I wanted to highlight Filip Hronek, but we already talked about that, so I'm switching gears here, and I'm going with Brock Besser. 10 goals in 12 games, and I know it's early, so you got to take these stats with a grain of salt, but shooting at a 28.6% clip, that scares me. That scares me big time. So Brock Besser, look out for him tonight.
Yeah, I like that call. I was going to go with JT Miller. We've discussed him a little bit during this show. So I'm going to highlight Andrei Kuzmenko, who should have been a Senator for life. Kyle, I'm not sure if you know, but a lot of Sens fans were already penciling him into the lineup before he decided to sign with the Vancouver Canucks because Ottawa had some success bringing Artem Zub over, and that they were teammates. We're like, oh, they'll just talk in Russian. He'll come right here. It'll be all good. That's not the case. Kuzmenko picks Vancouver. He's got the ugliest tape job in the National Hockey League, but somehow it works. He's up to 10 points in 12 games so far this season. And when he's on the ice, expect him to be in the offensive zone. This is a shocking statistic. Kuzmenko starts 68% of his shifts in the offensive zone. So he's cooking in the O zone, but they've got other guys that they trust more in the D zone. Kyle, I want to ask what Canucks fans, obviously you're feeling good about yourselves, but how much is it a coaching consistency for you, man? Is Rick Tocchet the man of the town in Vancouver right now?
Yeah, I think he definitely is. And I don't know if y'all know this, but the Vancouver Canucks got fined a lot of money at the end of last season because after game 82, I think they held some like private sessions on their ice with some of their players and their coaching staff. And all in all, the money was well spent because it's been pretty adamant that this team needed structure and discipline, and them pulling all the strings to make sure that happened going into this season, again, was worth it. And so much of this is the team being bought in into the structure. And sometimes when I watch the Senators play, they kind of remind me of like, I don't want to say the old Vancouver Canucks. It's only been 11 or 12 games, right? It's still so early, but I feel as if that's what you guys are missing, just a little bit of being bought in collectively to the process. And that could really leave a lot of wiggle room for guys like Stützle and Tkachuk and Sanderson to really just do the most. And just, again, being bought in is such a magical experience, and I did not think the Canucks were going to do that this season. For real, I thought the Canucks were going to take the next step because Miller, Pettersson, Hughes, and Demko were going to elevate and kind of carry the boys, but it's been I know you look at the stats in the box score and you could be like, oh yeah, they're being led by their stars, but it's been a complete team effort. And maybe you'll see that tonight. Like you'll see everyone come back. You'll see everyone finishing checks and they're moving as a unit. And that's why I think Canuck fans are also kind of irrational right now, because again, it may look like this team is being led by their stars, but it's a whole team effort.
Yeah, I mean, you deserve to be irrational right now, Kyle. Live up this irrational little time zone you're in right now, because you guys deserve it. And yeah, Rick Tocchet is one hell of a coach. I think that was a great move for the Vancouver Canucks, bringing him in. And when you get goaltending like you're getting right now, that's one spot where the Ottawa Senators, their whole idea was to bring in a tandem type goalie system, Korpisalo being 1A, Forsberg 1B, and it just hasn't clicked yet. So I think you got to be feeling pretty good over there. You're looking like you're feeling good. I'll just say that.
Hey, thank you, brother. How are you guys feeling though? I think the Senators, before yesterday's game, they're 4-6. Now they're 5-6. I think that wasn't, like, from my point of view, it wasn't the worst spot to be. Like, it's still early in the season. It could have been, you guys could have been like 2-5-1. You know, it's I don't think
the Edmonton Oilers.
Exactly. So after yesterday's win, are you guys back to like, okay, we could still do this season? Like, we are taking 2 steps this season, because that's the ultimate goal for you guys as well. It's not just taking like one little step. It's proving to the NHL that the Ottawa Senators are actually back.
Yeah, like ask me on Sunday, brother, because we got Vancouver tonight and Calgary at home on Saturday. Like, you need at least 1 and hopefully 3 points at least out of those.
Well, the disappointing thing, Kyle, is this was a big win. It felt good. So Sens fans are like, all right, can't wait to refresh the standings. They're still dead last in the Atlantic and dead last in the Eastern Conference. So we feel a little good about that win, but it didn't do much. There's a long way to go, unfortunately.
Yeah, there's a long way to go. Just, keep your heads up, and I don't know, expect a really entertaining game tonight. I don't think the Senators are just gonna, say it's good enough to beat the Leafs and blah, blah, blah. Like, they obviously want to build off of it. And I honestly think they're a pretty stacked team, If you're playing with the Ottawa Senators on like NHL 24, you're having a lot of fun, and all they need to do is just buy in, buy into like one way of playing and everyone pulling for each other. And again, it's early in Vancouver, but I've seen that pay huge dividends, and I didn't even expect it to happen. And if it can happen for the Vancouver Canucks, like out of nowhere, where the whole team is playing like a team, it can happen for you guys as well.
The prophet, Kyle Bhawan.
Hey, man.
Bit of pandering, but we love it. You going to stick around for some Pilsey's Parlay of the Day where we roast Pilsey's bets or what?
No way, dude. I got a video to upload right now, and we just roasted a bunch of Ottawa Senators fans on our video, because some of you guys were commenting things like no one in the league is picking Brady Tkachuk over Quinn Hughes, over Brady Tkachuk, and we went back to those comments from the summer and had a little bit of fun, okay? One love, man. One love.
All right, there's Kyle Bhawan, Locked On Canucks. Go check out Locked On Canucks wherever you get your podcasts and YouTube. Enjoy the game tonight, Kyle. We'll talk to you soon.
Peace out. Peace out. Have fun. One love, man.
There goes Kyle Bhawan, Locked On Canucks. Just a complete electric factory. To wrap up today's show, I've got a Levy lock, Pilsy. I've got a Levy lock. Josh Norris, 3+ shots on goal. If I see plus money next to Josh Norris at 3 shots, I'm in. So Josh Norris, Levy lock. Don't look at the season record. Just look at the bet. That's a good bet. We like it. We're hammering it. Levy lock.
Yeah, Ross, I mentioned to you, if you can get plus numbers on players' shots on goal, that's a nice way to boost the green numbers. So I like this Levy lock and hope you can get back in the right side of things here.
We don't like Pilsey's Parlay of the Day, though.
Well, I mean, I like today's Pilsey's Parlay of the Day, Ross, but it has been tough sledding. I was 3-2. Remember those days? I was 3-2. I was flying high on FanDuel, but trying to get back in the saddle right now. Marsha called me out that I'm not risking it as much as I should. But if you're a sports gambler, there's going to be ebbs and flows. But you got to pick your spots to go big tonight. I'm not really sure what's going to happen. Second half of back-to-back. Don't know if Zub's going to play, etc. It's kind of a weird game. So I'm just sticking with the over at 5.5. That's an adjusted over. I went from 6.5 to 5.5 just to play it a little safe here, Ross. Hughes, 3+ shots. I looked at his shot totals. This guy's lighting it up. Like I mentioned, I'm worried about that pairing. And then this is a weird move, but I think this is nice because it gives a bit of both. Canucks reverse puck line +1.5. That way, if the Sens win by 1, it still hits. and it gives a little wiggle room if things get out of hand for the Ottawa Senators here. So put all those together, you're going to get plus 234 odds on FanDuel.
And there you have it, Pillsy. Any final thoughts on today's show?
Final thoughts for me are, let's see the decor lines being rolled a little better here. I know Nicholas Matsingpalo, he's kind of the outlier here, but hopefully Zub comes back and DJ Smith rolls the lines here, because Jakob Chychrun playing 30 plus minutes last night is no joke. So you can't ride him like that again on a back-to-back, because Ross, you only got one day off after this, and then you're playing the Flames. Like, it's not like it's like, okay, now you just pull the metal for the back-to-back and you're chilling. Not the case. So let's roll those deep pair lines a little nicer here tonight.
Final thoughts for me. Thanks to Kyle Bhawan for jumping on last minute.
Legend.
And also the postcast tonight after the Ottawa Senators take on the Vancouver Canucks. So make sure you're subscribed on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast. We get the audio out as quick as possible. I know some of you mentioned that you're on night shift or overnight. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. So we get that postcast audio up ASAP right after. Remember, the postcast we vent or vibe last night was a vibe. What will tonight bring? We'll discuss after the game. For today, though, we say goodbye. Have a great one, Sens fans. Thank you for listening. For Brandon Piller, I'm Ross Levitan. This has been the Locked On Senators podcast, your team every day.